Okay, this is a video of some of the examples that were in your notes about normal distribution using the empirical rule. You should have already written down the empirical rule, and you should have those percentages listed on your normal curve. So this is how we apply it. So first question here, what percentage of adult American females are between 5 feet and 5'10"? So I want you to make a guess in your notebook. Okay, in order to answer this, we do need to know a little information. We need to know the mean and the standard deviation of adult American females. So it looks like in this case, the mean was 65 inches with a standard deviation of 2.5 inches. The mean goes right in the middle at 0. As I go out each standard deviation here, I will add that 2.5 inches each time. Okay. So the 0, 1, 2, 3, those are my standard deviations away from the mean, but I actually want to use my data to help me answer this question. When I go to the left, notice I have to take away. So on this side, we're going to take away 2.5. Okay, we're subtracting that. And we go out 3 standard deviations. Okay, so that's where I get my values from that you're seeing on there. The next thing I'm going to do is use my empirical rule, and I'm going to put my percentages. So I know it's very symmetrical. I got 34 and 34. I got my 13.5 and 13.5, my 2.35s, and my 0.15. Now, the other thing that's a little tricky about this problem was the data they gave us is in inches, but the question they're asking is 5 feet to 5 feet 10 inches. So since the data is in inches, we're going to change 5 feet is 60 inches, 5 feet 10 inches is 70 inches. And then I'm going to take a highlighter and I'm going to highlight the values that are in that range. So here's this one, I got this one, all the way over here. So my data is suggesting that I want from -2 to +2. If I add up all those percentages, I'm going to get about 95%. And that corresponds with our empirical rule. If you're between -2 and +2 standard deviations, that represents 95% of the data. So what that tells me is I know 95% of adult American females are between 5 feet and 5 feet 10 inches. So that's what that translates to. Okay, here's a second one. What percentage of females are taller than 5 feet 10? Well, 5 feet 10 is down here. Remember, that's 70 inches. So I'm looking down there on that end. Well, this is 2.35 and 0.15. So we're looking at about 2.5% of adult American females would be above 5 feet 10 inches. Okay. Let's try this one. Why don't you pause the video and see if you could figure out the percentage for this one. Okay, hopefully you actually did pause the video, but we want to go between 60 and 67.5. So it looks like we're going from here to here. So this is 34, 34, and we got our 13.5. So we're looking at those 3 regions. So if you add those 3 regions together, you should have got about 81.5%. Okay? Okay, last one here. Let's say a biologist is studying a mountain lion in their natural habitat. They sedate them, and then they collect some data. They release them back into their habitat after being revived. They give us the mean and the standard deviation for 40 male and 35 females for this study. And we're going to use the empirical rule to answer a couple questions. So when I go to question 1, it says create a normal distribution curve for the male mountain lion. So it looks like I'm only looking at the males. And as I kind of scan through these questions, they're all talking about the males. So I don't need the female information to do this problem. This symbol, remember, is the mean, and this symbol is our standard deviations that we have to put on our graph for our normal distribution. So before I even do anything, I'm going to go down here to my normal distribution curve. I'm going to put my mean. The standard deviation is 9, so I'm going to count up by 9. So I got 94, 103, 112. On the left side, I got to count back by 9, subtract 9 each time. Okay, so I got my curve. The next thing I'm going to do is they want us to figure out percentage of male lions that weigh between 76 and 94. So I'm going to go ahead and put my empirical rule on here. And now I'm going to go and answer the question. So I want 76 to 94, so I'm looking right there in the middle. So 1 standard deviation on either side, that's 68%. Number 3, what portion weighed less than 76? Well, the word portion is kind of a synonym for percentage. They're asking the same question, they're just using some different words. Okay, so we want to go less than 76. So I want this region, and this region. So if I add all 3 of those percentages together, I'm going to get about 16%. Okay, number 4, they've definitely changed what they want us to do. Now they want us to figure out how many of the mountain lions weigh between 76 and 94. So we knew 68% weighed that much, but how many is that? Well, they told us there was 40 lions in this study. Remember back up here, they told us there's 40 males. So I'm going to take, I know there's 40 of them, and I need 68% of them for this region. When you go to type this into your calculator, you do have to enter the 68% as a decimal. So we do move over 2 spaces, okay, for that. So when I do this, sometimes they come out decimals, and you can't have part of a lion, so I'm going to estimate about 27 lions. Keep in mind the empirical rule is just an estimation. Okay, so here's another one. How many weigh more than 76? Okay, so let's get those off of there. We want to go more than 76 pounds. So we're talking this region, this region, this region, this region, this region. Okay, so basically everything but the 16%. So if I add all those together, I'm at about 84% of them. Okay, 84% of 40 lions is about 33, 34 lions. Okay, so again, you can't really have a portion of a lion, so it's fine to say an estimate of 33 to 34. Okay, last one. What range of weights represents the middle 95%? Well, remember, 95% is 2 standard deviations. So if I look at 2 standard deviations, that's 67 to 103. That's my range. 67 to 103 lions are going to, or the lions, the 40 lions, they're going to weigh an average of 67 to 103 pounds is how much 95% of them are going to be weighing. Okay, so hopefully that gave you a couple verbal examples that you can kind of look back through. And that is it for standard deviation.